Hi everyone, it's me again. We are going to be doing Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar, all of my tips and tricks. I have a lot of tips and tricks, so let's get started. The first thing that I wanted to talk about was the deluxe edition and whether or not it's worth it. So the base game is $64.99 Canadian, and if you want to get the deluxe edition, it's $77.98. It comes with additional hairstyles like the braid and flowers, cat ear buns with highlights, short perm, side part with highlights, and the animal costumes. So you get a chick costume sets, alpaca costume set, ninja set with the glider as well. And then if you want the super deluxe edition, it is $89.98 Canadian, and that comes with the Grand Bazaar Trunk of Transformation, which is what I just listed, and also like the DLC set, which is the soundtrack and the photo album book. So if you want to fully support the game, it's $89.98. I did the $77.98, which is why I'm wearing the cow costume here, but I don't think it's worth it if you're not interested in those costumes specifically, because it doesn't give you any perks in the game other than getting an award for collecting a lot of items that you can change into really fast. It just gives you a title in the game. Other than that, it's just to look cute. So if you're not super interested in paying more for the game, or you're not interested in wearing a cow costume, then it's completely up to you. Okay, let's move on to the tips and tricks. So I'm going to be splitting them into different categories. So the first one is just going to be dailies, which is like the general category. Number one, use up all of your energy. So that seems very intuitive, but if this is your first time playing the game, then you might go to sleep without using up all your energy, but it's really important for you to do so. So the first thing that you do is you fill up your farm completely. That might be difficult in the first few days, but just you'll get there eventually. Make sure that you do jump every single time. So jumping does cost more energy, but it's a huge time saver. So if you do want to go one by one, you will save more energy, but if you jump, you can save more time by doing so. So use up all of your energy doing the planting and the watering, and then the next thing you should do is to do the rocks and logs and fishing. So collect as many rocks and logs as you can and collect as many plants as you can, and then do the fishing if you want. Fishing is kind of like the last resort for using up all of your energy. Also, make sure that you go back to your house every day. You can take a 30-minute bath, and the bath will fill up your energy quite a bit. It's almost halfway. The game tells you can sell everything, but do not sell rocks and logs. You are going to need a lot of them. That's the case for almost all farming sims, so make sure you don't sell them. Use them in your windmill and convert them as much as possible, and then just keep them in your inventory until you need them. Do not sell the rocks and logs. The next is that unlike other farming sims and other Story of Seasons games, especially ones that I played before, time does not stop when you're indoors, so make sure that you are pausing the game and not just standing there indoors, because time will not stop for you. Also, you can save when you're inside the house, which is really cool, like during the day, so you don't have to play the entire day before you can save the game, but you do have to go inside your house to save. Number 4 is whether or not you should buy animals young. So in terms of taking care of cow and sheep and other animals, but it's better to get them young because you can get a lot of affection from them in the beginning. So as soon as they start producing milk and wool and stuff like that, you can get some high quality produce from them. The problem with doing that is that it does take a while for them to mature. If you do want to get milk right away, then I would suggest getting a full-grown cow. Sometimes the merchant at the Grand Bazaar will sell cows at full adulthood, and sometimes he will sell them as a calf, so you just have to wait for him to do it as a full adult, or you can just buy it as a calf. It's better that way, and it's also cheaper. I would suggest getting the cow first because there's a quest in the very beginning that requires high-quality milk, and that took me a really long time because I didn't get the cow initially. In this game, one of the ways that you gain new recipes is by eating them, so whenever you can, whenever you have additional money, go and buy as many recipes as possible, or as many items that you can eat as possible, and eat them, and then you can gain the recipes. If you haven't upgraded your inventory yet and you find it really annoying, you can actually use the basket on the farm and it will automatically put everything in the storage for you. So yeah, definitely use the basket if you are in the farm area. For the fishing minigame, I suggest waiting until the arrow shows up. So you can see there, sometimes it tells you what you should be pressing, but it doesn't show you the arrow, so wait until the arrow actually shows up or it won't count. I'm talking about the orange arrow that you saw just now. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower. This is based on the quality of the fish, so if you get a really good quality fish, the arrows will be much faster than before. You just have to follow the pace. It's kind of difficult, but I think you'll get used to it. In terms of when you should be sleeping in the game actually forces you to sleep at 5 a.m, which is far later than other games that I've seen, but the problem is you will sleep later and later if you do that into the morning, and you don't want to do that as a farmer. You want to wake up at 6 a.m. bright and early, so I would suggest sleeping at 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. at the latest. This is kind of a random one, but I didn't know that you could collect mushrooms until like halfway through the game. So just watch out for mushrooms. They're really small. They're usually beneath trees and you don't really see them very often, but you can actually collect these mushrooms. You can give it to one of the sprites. So yeah, definitely watch out for mushrooms. I always miss them. If you're interested in knowing the weather for the rest of the week, you can actually tune into the radio in your house and you can listen to the weather. The good part about knowing the weather is that on rainy days you don't have to water your plants, which saves you a lot of stamina, and also wind is really important in this game, in the direction that you can fly and also in the windmill speed, so you do kind of want to know that. Whenever you enter a new house, make sure to check every bookshelf. I found so many recipes that way, so yeah, definitely check every bookshelf and just interact with everything that you can interact with in the game. There were lots of secrets that I found just doing that. Mining in this game is very different from other farming sims that I've seen. You can get iron from almost everything, but in order to get copper, you have to mine the copper ores, the ones that look like orangey, but the problem is you don't always get copper. It's actually a rare drop, so most of the time you'll just get iron. In terms of the other ones, like silver, if you find a silver ore, you can get silver, but it's a rare drop, and copper will be more common, and iron being the most common. So it is kind of difficult, and I find that it's kind of annoying because all of the iron or the high value ores are always like hidden in like really hard to find places, or places where you have to do some platforming, which is kind of frustrating as someone who is really bad at platforming. The windmill has two types of items. There are items that you can make permanently, and there are items that you can make infinitely. So permanent items are like tool upgrades or upgrades for your bazaar, and other than that, you can make a lot of things infinitely. As soon as you have the ingredients to make it, you can make it as much as you want, but there's a maximum of 10 per item each time. At first, I was trying to get rid of everything on my farm like other farming sims. Then I realized after coming back the first day that things respawn in this game every half day, so if you want to get rid of the grass because you think it's ugly, it will respawn every half day. The good part about that is if you want to get iron ore, you can try twice a day. So just go in the morning and then wait for a couple of hours and then try again in the afternoon. Okay, so moving on to tips for money. Do not buy fertilizer in the beginning of the game. That is what I did. I thought that you would need a lot of fertilizer. You do need a lot of fertilizer to make your farm as good as possible, but you can actually make them with a windmill really easily with just grass. So do not get fertilizer. It wasted so much money for me. The next tip to making money is cook everything. So process everything as much as possible. The final step would usually be in the kitchen. Unfortunately, you cannot cook from the storage, which is, I think, one of the most annoying things about this game for me. So yeah, you cannot cook from the storage, but yeah, cook everything as much as possible to make as much money as possible. The next tip is to turn all the wheat into fertilizer. Do not sell the wheat as well. Turn it all into fertilizer. It's more worth it to have high quality plants than to worry about selling weeds individually. Like in Stardew Valley, process everything. Everything processed is more expensive than unprocessed, so anytime you can, just put it inside the windmill, cook it, make everything as processed as possible. It will be more worth it at the end in terms of profit. In terms of your Bazaar daily schedule, I suggest doing both of the selling times and then buying stuff in between. You will have enough time to go to every single vendor in between the two different selling times. So yeah, make sure that you sell as much as possible and then go visit the vendors in between. For the first big purchases, like I said before, I recommend getting a cow right away. I think that's 5,000. And I also recommend immediately increasing your storage. It is so annoying how little space you have, and also increase your backpack. So that is 5,000 each. I also suggest getting from the mayor the double jump because that was really beneficial for accessing new areas in the game. That's 10,000. Later on in the game, when you unlock the harvest sprites, they will show up in your bazaar. I would suggest getting as much stuff as possible at the bazaar. You can get infinite stamina buffs, which is really important. I would suggest getting that first, and then you can add decorations for your bazaar or enhancing other stuff in the game, but I would definitely do the stamina peach. I think it's a peach first. The next thing is whether or not you should level up the sprites. So there are 5 different sprites in the game, and every single one accepts a different kind of item. They do not give you money for the items, but they do give you sprite coins or whatever the currency is, and they also increase the quality of your items over time. Like for example, if you keep giving mushrooms, then you can get better quality mushrooms in the future. Whether or not I think this is worth it, I think you should just make it pretty balanced. You should sell some of your fish at the market and give some of it to the sprites. I kind of just make it 50-50 and go along with that. I think it works that way because you do get more money the more high quality something is, but you also need to be able to make money throughout the game. So yeah, just balance it. The next is making sure you pick the right response. It is pretty obvious in the game which one is the obvious response for cutscenes, but yeah, make sure that you pick the right response because they get really pissed off if you pick the wrong one. But I think it's pretty obvious. Usually it's the top one in my opinion. The next tip is one of the best additions for the game for me. Cutscenes and quests show up on the map, and you can see it on the top right there, the M button. So the cutscenes will actually show up as a little like exclamation mark, and then you can go on the map and see where they are on the map. That is so beneficial because I used to have to write it all down because I wanted to see all the cutscenes. So yeah, cutscenes and requests are actually on the map now. Make sure you check that. The reason why it's important to check and get to it as quickly as possible is because cutscenes are really specific in this game. They're weather dependent, they're season dependent, they are day time dependent, so make sure that you do get it as soon as they're triggered. You don't have to rush, like you don't have to run across the map, but do get it like within a few hours. The next tip is to talk to everyone every day. I think that's really easy with the map. It's important for getting more quests and things to do in the game, and also I find that the ending grind, if you want to do all of the relationships and stuff at the very end, it takes a really long time. So just talk to everyone every day. I wouldn't worry about giving presents to everyone every day. I usually just give presents to the one person that I'm wooing. So yeah, don't worry about presents because it's really hard to have that many items in the beginning of the game, but I would talk to everyone every day. The next is what the villagers actually like. This is actually so awesome in this game because it's a quality of life feature. I think it's really cool. It's very non-specific for the items. Basically, if they like a specific type of food, it is just everything that is in that category of food. So it's really easy to gift now, and also you don't have to Google it, you don't have to make notes. It is in the villager information, so just go to the villager information and you can find out what they like and dislike. I usually just guess. I don't really care that much about gifting. Also, I wanted to add that you can gift people every single day in this game. So in this game you can actually unlock titles, but do the titles matter? Not really. The villagers will sometimes comment on it like, oh, I've heard that you're a very good plant giver recently, and that's it. So it doesn't really matter, but you can change your title if that is something that you're interested in doing. The next thing is I would suggest doing the quests that villagers give you as soon as possible, because the hearts are actually locked behind quests. You cannot get more affection from them unless you finish the quest. For people that you are trying to seduce or a relationship, it's at 1, 3, and 5 hearts, and they also have different color hearts compared to people who are just villagers that you can't marry. So they have different colored hearts depending, so it goes from like gray, then purple, then blue, all the way to red. The other villagers I think are just like light orange the whole time. I can't remember the specific color, but their hearts don't change. So in case you're trying to figure out if there's someone that you can actually woo, their hearts actually change color over time. Okay, so those are all of my tips and tricks for the game. Let me know if you have any more. Let me know if this video has helped you at all, and thank you for subscribing. Like and comment down below, and join our Discord if you're interested. Bye!